Kinan Valdez. Hello, Kinan.
Hello, everybody. My name is Kinan Valdez. I use he, him pronouns. As Rebecca stated, I'm the director of the show, and I'm really happy to be here with all of you tonight. So look forward to your questions and to a lively discussion tonight. And I will popcorn to Damaris.
Hi, everyone. I'm Damaris DeVito. I play Liz, and my pronouns are she, her. It's great to see everyone. And my castmates. I haven't seen you in a couple of days as well.
Nice. Who'd you like to pass it on to, Damaris?
Oh, Ray.
Oh, hi. My name is Ray Renati, and I play Mr. Candy. My first name is Rock Candy. I made that up myself. Yeah, good to see everybody here. Hello, guests, and hello, castmates who I miss so terribly. It's great to see you. And I will pass it on to David.
What's up, everyone? David Morales playing Freddie Luna. Happy to see you all and have this discussion. I'm gonna pass it off to Fred.
Hey, hi everybody. I'm Fred Pitts. I am Coach Jones. Nice to see everyone in the chat room and all the cast. And I will pass it. Who's left? Pass it on to Alicia.
Hello, I am Alicia. I use they, them pronouns, and I'm playing Gabby Fuentes.
Thank you all. Unfortunately, Caitlin Papp is not here with us tonight, who plays the wonderful Barbara Flowers. And because she's not, I just have to share this great photo of her with you all.
She's my cousin.
Woohoo. Yeah. We've got some great photos by our company photographers, Christian Pizzerani, who is absolutely wonderful. And as we go on tonight throughout the evening, I'll be showing some other photos that some folks haven't seen yet. So it's always kind of a nice surprise. All right. King Liz, fantastic show on our stage now, running through April 21st. I believe that those of you who are here have already seen the show. If you haven't, please say stop in the chat to make sure that we don't do any spoilers. But I think you all, I'm looking over here. I think you're all good. Kinan, you know how to.
I know one person who hasn't seen the show.
Okay.
Bye.
No. If we're going to do any spoilers, we will warn you in advance.
No, just don't worry about it.
Well, two people apparently, so there we go.
Oh, okay, good. Thank you for letting me know. Seeing it closing weekend. Thank you, Nicole.
Yep.
All right, good to know. Kinan, why don't you start us off? We are so excited to have Kinan here with us at City Lights. This is his first time directing at City Lights, but he is a seasoned theater professional, having grown up in El Teatro Campesino, the company that his father founded. He's an actor, a director, a filmmaker, all the things. And it's wonderful having him here. Kinan, why don't you start us off telling us a little bit about why this play is so timely? What drew you to it initially? And I know that you know the playwright a little bit.
A little bit, yeah. Well, first of all, I should say one of the reasons that I ended up at City Lights is because of the strength and value of the local networks that we have of all the wonderful professionals in the Bay Area. So it was actually, I had a chance to work with the sound designer, George, on a different production. And that is what essentially brought me into City Lights orbit, even though I'd heard about City Lights' work for decades now. But in this case, it was Lisa, after I met Lisa at the opening night of a show I directed for San Jose State, and said, I've got this script by Fernanda Coppel, and we're looking for a director. Would you love to read it? And I said, I would absolutely love to dig in and take a look at it. I had been familiar with Fernanda's work for a long time because I'm a continuing lecturer over at UC Santa Cruz, and Fernanda is one of our graduates from many, many years ago. I never had the chance to work with her while she was there. But she also was really close friends with my sister-in-law. So Fernanda's name has always been bandied about in my orbit. And so it felt like an opportunity to dig in into her work, the playwright's work. And once I read this play, I absolutely fell in love with it. I had to absolutely direct it. Part of that is for many reasons. One, as the cast remembers, that we had a conversation about what's your relationship to basketball. And I myself am not the most spectacular sporting person, but I loved basketball as a child. Even though I was not a very good player, I just had this passion for the sport, as many of our company members did. And so that is what drew me into the play itself. The other is that, as we all know, as theater professionals, there's what is seen on the stage and what's behind the scenes. And those are vastly different worlds. And so to take an opportunity, or excuse me, with this play, we had an opportunity to see what is the game behind the game that you see in out in the world. And so that idea of poking behind the scenes to see the various machinations at work in a sporting event appealed to me directly. But I have to say it's actually the characters, right? Specifically Liz, the relationship that she has, what she's had to do to make it in essentially a man's world as an Afro-Latina, as a Latina, as a person of color. I just thought that it resonated on so many different levels for me. And there's, without spoilers, right, there's a cost that all these characters face in terms of the choices that they've made to get ahead in this world. So the fact that it's this really dynamic story of human relationships is what I naturally gravitated toward. The other thing too, as a Latinx artist, different representations of Latinx identity really appeals to me. I think it's important for us to see the wide spectrum of those experiences. And as somebody who was and is a lover of sports, but is not very good, I thought this is how I can engage in that work. So.
Well, not all of us theater people are big, very super athletic, so it's okay. It's funny, I asked Alicia the other day if they were interested in sports or into sports, and they were like, yeah, no, that's not my thing. Yeah, it's a great script. It's got heart and it's got so much humor too that is unexpected. It's one of those shows that is difficult to market for a marketing director because people are calling it like a dramedy, but it's humorous, it's heartfelt, it's hard hitting, it's powerful, and it revolves around this powerful female character who is fighting against the odds in a male-dominated world. As you said, dig in. The phrase you used, dig in. There's a lot to dig into. Yeah, fantastic. I just learned some interesting trivia from Damaris about how Damaris, of course, who plays Liz Rico, how she came to this particular play. And I thought it was so interesting that I want you to share the story with us.
Fred was telling me about Clyde's, and I said, oh, well, I want to read for Clyde's, which is our next hour. Sound like family already. Look at me. It's City Lights.
It's our next show at City Lights.
Next show was Clyde. So I wrote to the casting director and I asked her if I could read when the date comes up so I could clear my schedule. And she said, sure, but in the meantime, do you want to read for King Liz? And I said, what part? And she said, Liz. And I thought, oh, okay, I'll read. It wasn't on my docket. I had been to your season, not premiere, but your roasting, when you host what you're going to show for the season. So I was aware of it. And it was intriguing, but at the time, I just didn't think I could fit it in my schedule. So I just hung on to Clyde's as my, last hurrah to get into City Lights because I had not been on their stage before. So yes, this was a very sort of stars aligned sort of thing. It could have easily passed my radar had I not sent the email. I guess it's all about timing in this case.
Yeah, you've been on our podcast before, but not been on our stage before. So we're so happy to have you.
Thank you.
And what ended up really drawing you to the character of Liz? It's such an interesting character.
Oh my gosh, there's so many shades of Liz, and there's lots of parallels in my life. But I'm a speech therapist by profession, so I can't say it's a male-dominated profession, but I was keenly aware of my mom working in the hospital system and talking about it being male dominated, and this was in the 70s, and how difficult it was for her to get her program running, and all the stories that she would tell me. And I remember we had a rehearsal and I was yelling at Gabby as the script asks me to. and and I remember pausing for a moment and I said, that's my mom. That's my mom. It was a moment where I recall feeling like I have my mom's spirit in me for this role. because there were all too many occasions where I recall her sharing these frustrations with me that she couldn't really get her claws into something on the mere idea that she was just a female. That's all it was.
Hmm.
So that and also I don't have children of my own, but I am a step parent, and so taking on David in this role of Freddie, it wasn't anything that Liz anticipated, and she became keenly aware of how much guidance he needed and how just lost he was. He just didn't have the guidance, and she happened to have been put in his life for that reason and that reason alone. So I think that is where I find a connection between myself and Liz, and being a step parent and understanding the role of how you can't take the reins, but you can certainly guide.
Yeah. That's really nice. There are a lot of sort of parental themes too. You have Liz kind of being a parent to Freddie, and then of course you have Mr. Candy saying that he feels like a father figure to her, and
Right.
or how accurate that really is, but it's certainly something that comes up. And I thought about that a lot during the show. And then she has this moment where she said, "I just plain forgot to have kids, and I didn't mind at all." That's very
Yeah.
interesting.
I think she may have, perhaps on one day she may have fantasized about it, but you can't share power, as she said. You can't have a family and you can't be a CEO. You can't do that. At least not in the world that she was living in. Perhaps in another career choice, but not in this one. And two, at the end, she does come to Gabby, and she also admits that she is like family to her.
Yeah.
As poorly as she treated her, I think she too saw her as a family, be it a sister, certainly not a mom to a daughter, but certainly a sister in many respects.
I love the relationship between those two characters. I have a couple of cool photos I have to show.
Mhm.
This is a nice
Aw.
spotlight
Oh,
here.
that's a sweet one. I love that one. That's great. Yay.
Yeah, this is really lovely. And then we have the next one, which sort of shows a different, well, another part of Gabby's arc.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's a nice one. I love that backdrop too. The projection there is beautiful. Um, I've got too many buttons open. All right, there we go. I love the relationship between Liz and Gabby. It's so interesting when Liz talks about how when she hired Gabby, that Gabby had this voice she never spoke above a whisper, and she really grows. And I wonder why she hired Gabby in the first place, what she saw in her, kind of just to put you on the spot again, Damaris. Have you thought about that, what their relationship was like in the beginning? Or Alicia, have you thought about that, sort of how their relationship has changed over the 5 years?
I I'm guessing that Liz hired her because she was easily manipulated, or she could easily manipulate her and mold her. As she's telling Coach, you can mold your own Kobe Bryant, you can mold your own Kevin Garnett. I can mold Gabby into what I want her to be, and I'm like a bully in certain times, and she speaks back to me, and she teaches me about humility. I've done some really poor things in her eyes, and all the more reason why I want her back in my life, because it's she can show me how to live righteously, because
Mm.
she had that she recognized that in him, in Freddie, before I did, that I took advantage of him. But she didn't speak up. She was trying to do the right thing, and I was trying to do the right thing by her by taking her back.
She sang.
Yeah.
Gabby is also very, very good at her job.
We've
Yes,
heard that.
good at her job. Absolutely. Absolutely good at her job.
Alicia, tell me about your connection with the role of Gabby. I assume that probably the relationship with Liz was one of the things that you've enjoyed about the script.
Yeah, it's been such a blast, and it's so funny because Damaris is just so sweet. She would never yell at me like that ever in her life. But it's been such a blast, and Gabby is a little neurotic. And kind of struggles to make herself heard, but when she does, she's like really proud of herself, regardless of whether or not it gets shot down. And I really relate to that as a kind of shy but neurotic person as well. I was one of the people that was like not familiar with basketball or how sports. I just did not grow up a very athletic kid. I am 5'1", so basketball was not ever really on my radar. But something I've loved about this process and, you know, getting into Gabby, getting into the show is I called my dad, who is not really a theater person. And I was like, hey, you know how drafts work, right? Can you talk to me about it? And this man was over the moon to be able to like hunker down and talk sports with his kid that he like never really gets to. So that was lovely. But yeah, Kinan helped a lot with bringing up what are your wants in the beginning of rehearsal and our table work, and that really helped like shape, I think, all of our journeys and our characters is always focusing on like, what do I want in this scene and how do I get it? Yeah.
Well said. Are there any sports fans on this cast? Yeah? Tell me, who is? Ray, your hand went up immediately. Tell us.
Oh, yeah, I'm a huge sports fan. I'm a huge Warriors fan and 49ers. And actually, my favorite sports to watch is water polo. And I go to a lot of local water polo games, Stanford and Cal usually.
Nice.
Yeah.
And David, you too. I saw your hand go up. Do you play basketball, David? For real?
I do play basketball for real. I play
Nice.
pickup at least once a week, just to get my cardio in. But yeah, huge basketball fan, huge Warriors fan. My favorite player growing up was Allen Iverson because he was short just like me. Um, uh, Basketball, I played all the way up to high school, and then I also played baseball in high school as well. But I love watching hockey. I never played hockey, but since Mighty Ducks, I've always been a fan.
I love it. I love it. David, we are happy to have you back at City Lights after The Seagull was most recent. And before that, I think a lot of folks remember you from our 2016 production of I and You, the beautiful Lauren Gunderson play. And you had these roles that were very comedy. The Seagull was comedy. I and You was a lot of heart, but it was also very funny too. And now you have this character who's got more of an edge and a temper. And it's interesting to see this side of you as an actor on our stage. Tell us about preparing for this role.
Preparing for this role. You know, in college, anger was something I had to work on a lot because it's not my strength, and I'm not an angry person. I usually am the type of person when like people throw stuff at me, I'm like, oh, that's not mine. Oh, I'll just let it go, you know. But you know, anger is really always there's something the root of it. So I think it was just fun to find out the fear behind the anger or the pain behind the anger and work with those with this role and just finding out why Freddie is doing what he is doing because he believes he's in the right, you know. It's said in the play that he doesn't know any better. So
Yeah.
I tried to approach the script not judging the character even though there's so many times I'm like come on, man. But like, try not to judge him. And just tell the best story I could.
Which you do. I got some good photos for you too that I don't know if you've seen yet. This one kind of breaks your heart.
I was just thinking about that one actually, because when you, it's not anger, but it's innocence. When he said, "The chocolate milk calms my nerves," and that is the quintessential part of when he has the most innocent face. You really see how young he is
Yeah.
when he requests the chocolate milk.
And the way Liz reacts is very interesting too, because you're sort of surprised, but at the same time, there's a sympathy there, and you see more of the boy inside the man when he says that. That's a good one. And then this is a very different shot.
Yeah, we know that one, huh?
There, we're seeing the anger. And David, you've got a big smile on your face. Is it strange to see a shot like this?
It's just funny. My number one note in college was always like smile less. So it's like I'm just using that note as much as I can in the show.
Wow. It's a good photo. Yeah, again, kudos to Christian Pizzarani, who is so good at capturing. Christian is an actor as well. He was just in our production of Nora, A Doll's House, and he really captures these moments, just grabs them out of the air. That's fantastic. How about some photos of Ray and Fred too? So you all don't feel left out. Let's see. I like this shot a lot. This is a beautiful photo.
Fred's also a huge sports guy.
Yeah.
I don't think I noticed I ever closed my eyes in the show. I guess I did.
Yeah, this is a beautiful photo. Do you want to
It's a
tell?
great photo.
Well, let's see. No, I guess you can't tell us what's happening here without being a spoiler.
Nope.
So
It's
can
a
you?
hug.
It's a hug and it's a moment.
It's a hug.
It's
It's a
hug.
moment.
Yeah. Will you tell us a little bit about your character? Tell us about Coach.
Coach is interesting. I think I think I raised my hand before, but yeah, I'm a sports fan. I've been watching. But I think the sports I love the most are college football and college basketball. I'm a Michigan alum. If you haven't known me, I wear Michigan stuff all the time. And I'm a big Michigan homer. But I've been watching college basketball since Larry Bird and Magic Johnson played in the NCAA finals in 1979. So I've been watching that in the NBA for years. I watched the Lakers. I watched Pat Riley as a coach. I watched Phil Jackson as the coach. So I watched a lot of coaching, not because I thought I was smart with sports, but I always found them interesting to try to get personalities to play together. And there's a lot of nonsense that goes on when you're an NBA and a college coach because you have to deal with people. It's the same with my job. I've been fortunate enough to be a leader in my profession, and you have to deal with personalities. And I think coaches fascinating because he seems like someone who probably has had struggles trying to achieve what he wants to and has had to butt against a lot of resistance. He makes the line about I've been assistant for 10 teams to get what I want. And he's seen a lot of things. He's seen players come and go. He's seen players pushed into positions they're not ready for. And I think for him, seeing Freddie, and he's got a backstory with Liz, but seeing Freddie, I know this story, this has happened before, but I think he kind of in his own way, you don't see it, but kind of takes Freddie under his wing. He breaks it to him clearly in the beginning, I think, of, I know what you want, but let me tell you about the reality. But then I think as you watch the show, there is a subtle kind of, there's a lot of parenting in this kind of fatherly thing about him where he kind of takes a rookie under his wing and says, here's how I'm going to support you. I'm happy for you about this. Let's go here. So I think I like the idea of someone who's trying, as a black coach for a black player to say, look, I will work with you to see if you can succeed because, he probably is from a similar background, and as even Liz says in the show, there are issues that happen with young men of color trying to succeed in this world. It happens with older men of color. So that's, I think, a lot of what motivates me with this character and to try to help Freddie, if any of that makes sense.
It does. I mean, there's definitely a lot of tough love going on when you first meet Freddie, and the dynamics are interesting because they keep shifting in that scene. You think you know where it's going, and then just like Freddie, you kind of have it pulled out from under you.
It's a fun power play scene.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. And then of course later you have this great scene with Liz in a restaurant, and I'm not going to say any more about that, but so much evolves and happens in that scene. Again, you're trying to, as the audience member, you're kind of trying to get your footing, which is that's about all I'm going to say. Fred, this is your first time on the City Lights stage, right? Am I right?
It is. Yes.
Welcome.
Thank
I
you.
know you have a solo show that you have performed a lot around the Bay Area. Would you tell us a little bit about that too?
I'll be short. I don't want to bore everybody with this one. It's a solo show called Aren't You? And it came out of a real life fact that I'm a history geek. And I went to see a bunch of all of the California missions. And as I went through it, a large majority of white people I would see on the trip would say stuff like, you look like famous black person, insert name here. Or aren't you, insert famous black name here. And it just kind of kept happening. So it turned into a solo show about history and how we rewrite it, or just trying to be rewritten and what we ignore, and about bias and trying to portray who you think somebody else is as opposed to knowing who they are. And I've been very blessed with it being running a lot in the Bay Area. more than I thought it ever would. So I've still even got one more Bay Area performance in May, which we can talk about later. But yeah, it's been a blast. And solo performance, I will tell anybody, is the hardest thing on the planet to do. I love this show because I'm with 6 other people, and we get to play together. We swim together, we sink together. Solo performance, you sink by yourself. So,
I've seen it, and there's no sinking.
bless you.
I've seen it.
Okay, there's solo stress. I can stress only for myself, and there's no one else to stress with except my poor wife. So,
Where is it going to be next?
it's actually going to be part of a thing called the One for All. It's a solo festival with Marin Shakespeare Company. They're doing solo performances once a month. They had Brian Copeland, they had Dan Hoyle, they had Josh Kornbluth, and mine will be Friday, May 3rd, 8 o'clock. So if anybody wants to drive up to San Rafael, 8 o'clock, it's a 75-minute show. It's fun.
Or Arizona.
Right, yes, thank you. It's being brought to the Invisible Theater in Tucson, Arizona, in December. A former actor from the Bay Area, Betsy Cruz Craig, is now the artistic director there, and she invited me to the show. So yeah, very blessed.
Very nice. Very nice.
Road trip.
Road trip. I was going to say the trip to San Rafael doesn't sound far at all in comparison.
Fair point.
Nice. Ray, I've got a good photo here that I also want to share. I like this one a lot.
Oh, I know what you're saying. That's the Titty Tuesdays. It's got to be the Titty Tuesdays.
Nice.
Oh, God. Oh, man.
See, the nice thing about these photographs is we get to see the scenes we don't get to see because we're backstage.
Exactly. Yeah.
Titty Tuesday, yeah.
Yeah, maybe I shouldn't ask what's going on in this scene. Oh, all right. This is one of those moments where I feel like Mr. Candy, I almost said Mr. Flowers. Mr. Candy has a total Roger Sterling from Mad Men thing going on.
Oh, what a great comparison.
Yeah, the manipulator.
Yeah. Ray, tell us about your character.
Okay, well, I play Mr. Candy, and I am the CEO of the Candy Agency. I'm leaving the company. I don't want. Oh, there's people here. I guess I'm making spoilers, huh? Oh well. Yeah. What's that?
Just a mini. It's a little.
Okay. Yeah. So I'll be leaving the company, and I mean, basically, I really, really want Liz to take over, and she's not cooperating with me in terms of everything that I want her to do all the time. And Mr. Candy always gets his way. But with Liz, it's not that easy to make her do things unless you get really, really, really nasty.
Well, I have a different take on that.
Well, I mean, at the end there, I don't know. I mean, Mr. Candy just, he's got a huge ego. The company is everything to him. She is the only one that he trusts, and he truly does care about her, I think. And she's the only person that he trusts to run it. And when it looks like that's threatened, I won't say any more than that. He becomes sort of assertive about that. Yeah. And the company is everything to him.
Sorry, I had somebody texting me saying, I want to get on your Zoom. And I was like, that's how you do it. You guys are so popular. Like, we're half over and they still want to get on and see you. Yeah, I keep coming back to Mr. Candy saying that he's like a father figure to Liz. And it's just an interesting moment because the way he says it and the way she reacts, it's like, yeah, maybe not. Yeah, maybe not.
I know. Mr. Candy said, well, that was right after I had a little bit of champagne, and I'm saying things that I probably normally wouldn't say. I think it's true though, to an extent. I think he does have that sort of affection for her, like a father figure, which is one of the reasons that he wants her to take over. Also, because she's extremely competent and hard hitting and aggressive and gets the job done, you know?
Yeah, I'm going to jump in here too. Part of the thing about these characters is they live for their work, right? So their
Yeah.
work and relationships become more important than familiar ones. And that's one of the themes of the play, right? It's why
Yeah.
some characters sink and swim, right? So it's not untruthful, but these are also characters that are used to manipulating everyone around them, including their closest colleagues.
Yeah, so but Liz and I are constantly playing a game of chess with each other, I think, even though we do have some sort of care for one another and do have respect for one another's abilities. Um, but it's always kind of a big kind of chess game going on about whose will is going to be asserted. Um, you
Yeah,
know,
it's like Kinan said, the game behind the game.
yeah, yeah,
And there's a lot of that.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, even when Liz is trying to sign Freddie, and you think Freddie's going to get up and leave that restaurant, and there's the back and the forth and the back and the forth. I think that the playwright is really masterful at having these scenes that the balance of power is always shifting, and it makes
yeah.
it because you can't predict how the scene's going to end.
Yeah, someone brought up Mad Men or the character from Mad Men. It is very similar to that, you know, where people spend all their time at work. It is sort of a family to them, but at the same time, they're trying to achieve and one up and assert their will and win.
Yeah,
Yeah, and that's what Mr. Candy's all about.
absolutely.
Not like me.
Well, and Ray, you are returning back to City Lights after
Yeah.
a number of years. Tell us what shows are
Oh gosh. Let's see. In 2002, I think. I think it was 2002. I was in Jesus Christ Superstar. No, 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 no. Rocky Horror, the first time. The first Rocky Horror 1, the first time City Lights did the Rocky Horror Show. I think it was 2002.
Our general manager's typing the dates in there. That's right, 2003. Yeah,
2003. Oh, okay. And then in 2004 or 2005, one of those years, I was in Jesus Christ Superstar.
Anne says 2006. Thanks, Anne.
2006. Okay.
Anne is our institutional memory, so she knows.
Okay. Yeah. Both of those shows were huge hits.
Yeah.
They both extended for months, I believe. Yeah, it was incredible. It was incredible experiences, both of them.
Yeah, they're kind of legendary. Like I said, it was before my time, but I remember hearing about the lines around the block and the added.
Oh yeah, people
Yeah.
calling all the time. They hadn't put extra seats, and yeah, I think Jesus Christ Superstar, no, Rocky Horror, I think extended for a couple of months, I believe.
Really?
Yeah, yeah.
Anne wants to say something.
Is that right, Ann?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it was a couple of months because
Oh,
we had room in our
a
calendar.
month?
But like 5 weeks, I want
Yeah,
to
that's
say.
about right. 5 weeks. Yeah, yeah.
And then, yeah, with Jesus Christ Superstar, the pay what you can, we usually didn't sell tickets in advance for that night. So the line was out the door and down to William, and then around the corner.
Oh, that's
And
right. You were
I don't even
there
know
then.
if we got everyone in. And within a week, every performance was sold out.
Yeah.
Like all of the ones, and then we started adding them as we could. So yeah, it was incredible.
And we're doing Rocky Horror again this summer, in case
That's
anyone.
right.
Yeah.
That's great. That's great. It's wonderful to have people come back who haven't been with us in a little while and get back into the
A little while.
Yeah, a little while.
Decades.
It hasn't been that long. Don't tell me that. Now I'm feeling old too. Oh, that's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
If any audience members, you all are pretty quiet, and that is okay. If you have any questions you want to jump in with, please raise your hand or type something into the chat, or we can keep talking freely as well. Any of the artists who are on tonight, while folks are thinking of questions, do you have things that you'd like to bring up, stuff that you'd like to say that we haven't talked about now that we've got you here, almost all of you in one place? David, I have to say, I met your real life mom on opening night in the audience. That was so cool. I kept looking over at her during the show because the pride was just like emanating from her. Did anybody else see David's mom in the audience? Oh, that was the best. Am I embarrassing you?
No, you can't embarrass me because she's embarrassed me way too much in my life. Um, no, it was great. She's my number one fan. She comes to every single show.
Oh, that's wonderful. Is she a role model too? Speaking of strong women.
Totally, totally. That's why in some of these scenes, I had to like apologize to Alicia and I'll be like, "Yo, not me, Freddie. Just letting you know, Liz, this is Freddie, not me."
I
Yes.
do have one thing to say.
Yeah, go ahead, Ray.
I didn't mean to cut you off there, Debbie. Oh, okay. Yeah, I just want to say that I think what Keenan has done with the show, I mean, he cast it really, really well, but above and beyond that, the technical people that he's put together and he's worked with, and the scene changes and how they kind of put the show on another level. It's not just moving furniture around and then we have the next scene. I mean, it's part of the show, and you feel like you're in a basketball game or something. I wish I could watch it. I can't really see it, but I have the sense that it's quite amazing. So I just wanted to say that it's the technical aspects of the show are of great quality, and they really advanced the experience, I believe.
Absolutely. The lighting
Yeah.
is beautiful. The set is beautiful. I have another really nice photo of Damaris that shows some of that here.
The lighting and for the dinner. I will say that the general consensus that I received was that the surprise, um, the surprise at the end, and people were really rooting for Freddie, really rooting for Freddie. Like I had two friends who were like at the edge. They said the edge of our seat, like, what's gonna happen? What's gonna happen? Um, and without spoiling anything, yeah, it's not a sit back, relax sort of act two. It's not
No, it's really
far
not.
from it. It's far from it.
We have an interesting question in the chat from Nicole. Nicole asks, are there any intended parallels between this show and King Lear? Keenan, you want to take that one?
Well, I can start by saying that maybe yes and maybe no. King Lear, as we know, is a tragedy, right? So if you view this production and this play through that lens, perhaps, right? But if there's any characters that have that relationship, it's not necessarily Liz and her clients, but more Mr. Candy, right? Who has embraced Liz as one of his successors. So it might be in the DNA somewhere. I wouldn't look at this play for direct parallels, although I will say the use of the term king is meant to invoke these older styles of dramatic plays, right? I think it does two things. One, it lets us know that this is a male-dominated world, right? Where this character is embracing that, and it's a gendered environment and loaded. But also, I think it does evoke somewhat of that classic tragedy structure of certain plays. So that, without saying more than that, right? We'll say that, I'll give a spoiler, nobody dies in this play that we see, right? But there are major, major costs for these characters, right? So that's my take on it. I'm sure any of the other cast members might have an angle, right, on the correlation between King Lear and King Liv.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Well, I noticed that the second act, especially the second half of the second act, is very Shakespearean in its structure. Everything kind of just comes tumbling down quickly in just a couple of short scenes, and it's super tragic, super fast. And there are quite a few tragedies in Shakespeare that end that way. And I just have a feeling it was done on purpose.
Mm.
Yeah, because it's not typical of a modern play to end like that. So with all of the problems coming to a head right at the end, and then just I'm trying to talk around this so I don't spoil this play.
Right.
So that's all I'll say.
Alicia, did you want to add something? Oh, I thought I saw your hand go up.
No, I was saying adeptly done, nicely avoided.
Definitely. And I'm talking about all these folks being new to City Lights, and Alicia, of course, is not. We have enjoyed their performances in many shows. And if I start talking, I'm going to forget at least one. So just tell me your favorite one. What's your favorite one so far? Or
My favorite? How could I pick?
That's what I was saying. Like,
rather than favorite, I will do most recent, which would be The Games Afoot, which was before Nora, where I was a quirky British inspector. And before that, Miss You Like Hell, I think, was the most recent one before The Games Afoot. Both wonderful shows, and I always have a great time at City Lights. I'll come back as long as they'll have me. It's a wonderful place to work, and you always get to work with incredible people and fantastically talented teams. I mean, what else could you ask for?
nice.
Yeah,
I love
can I,
Actually, I'm sorry. I'm gonna tail on. I'm gonna tail feather tail
Dovetail?
on
No,
her.
wait.
Dovetail.
Dovetail. Thank you, my husband in other shows.
It's true.
This is true. Um, to that point about City Lights, something that was very unique in experience was when Lisa had talked about our relationship with respect to the audience and subscribers. And I've never had an experience like that at other theaters where they made it a point to really embrace these people who have come to see you. And I think that is pretty unique and something to really pay more attention to. It's not an oversight necessarily on our part, had it not been said, but the fact that she was very specific in our relationship and really reaching out because they're coming to see you, and especially with respect to our engagement and being, having the energy so that the back row can hear us and all of these details. I took that at heart and thought, now here's something really unique and special.
That's our executive artistic director, Lisa Millette, and it's that welcoming, wonderful attitude is like top down. That all comes from Lisa, and it's radical hospitality is one of the phrases she likes to use.
Okay.
I'm gonna jump in, yeah, real quick, because Ray, I appreciate you not making reference to the transitions, but a lot of that has to do with Lisa. Lisa curated an entire team. I came in as a guest designer, guest director, had a wonderful time. But this is a team of designers that have worked together that are part of the extended City Lights theater family. That includes, Ron, who designed the sets, Carson, and Karen, who's here in terms of the props. So that design team that created all of that was curated by City Lights, and it's a testament to the leadership of the company.
Yeah, we're happy to have Karen Leonard here, our props designer. And Karen has designed fantastic props for so many of the shows that we've done. And I'm sure Alicia remembers those beautiful cucumber sandwiches from La Hollow, which still stand out
And
as
the chocolates, and the chocolates.
chocolates. Yeah, we are fortunate to have a wonderful team of designers here. And it just makes the show that much more special. I see another question in the chat. I want to make sure that doesn't go by. Nicole would like to know, what are some of the particular challenges of directing this play?
Oh, okay. Well, I think like any play, it's coming up with a container for the events to unfold. And in this case, the playwright comes from a world of television as well as theater. And so we all, in our rehearsals, talked about this really amazing dialogue that's snappy back and forth, right? So there was just the work with the actors that we all did to try to tease out those epic battles that happen behind the scenes, just in terms of their relationships. And hats off to all the actors for the work that they did. The other was, like I said, is the container. So as we were trying to figure out how to create a space that could hold all these multiple different environments, we spend most of our time in Liz's office, but we also have individual scenes in these various locations. We wanted to come up with a concept that could support all of those shifts. This is where the transitions came from. So we decided to go with the motif of the play, the game behind the game, and tried to create the sense of being at a modern sporting event with all of those transitions, where it's no longer just about the sport, but it's also about the entire entertainment value and the spectacle. So we tried to allude to the spectacle that you find in modern sporting events through our transitions, through the use of lights, and also by providing always some sort of focus or story point during those transitions. So this play, sometimes it's really obvious what that supporting container might be, but because we jumped around in all these really dynamic little moments, I would say that the challenge is always the fun parts. The great part is working with actors to make all of these characters come alive, to watch everybody do their thing. And for me, I always love it when we get to laugh as a company during rehearsal, right? To create that sense of joy, even in the midst that we're tapping these darker elements. So that's not necessarily a challenge, but that's definitely something I enjoyed, was all the time that we spent together in rehearsals.
Yeah, I get the feeling you all are really enjoying working together. And several of you have worked together before, I think. Damaris, you were saying someone played your husband in another show
Yes, yes.
4 times.
David and I did a movie short, but we were never on the same stage, if you will, together. So we've been in the same clip, but we weren't there on the same day. Let's put it that way. So that was kind of funny and fun. And Fred and I worked on 2 other shows together.
3.
Clybourne Park. Oh yes, Clybourne Park, Sunset Baby, and The Mountaintop.
Mm,
So we know each other pretty intimately because we were in two one-hander and 1 three-hander.
3-hander, yeah.
Yeah.
mm.
Yep.
And
At the
Clybourne.
same time.
And then I met his wife, also at one of the shows we did together. Alicia's new to me, and I love it because I'm so happy to share the stage with her. I've seen her work before, and Ray as well. So, yeah, everyone is super awesome. I was very blessed.
Oh, it makes me think, and then so sad when the show closes, but then you'll get to work together again.
Yeah.
And some of you are coming back. I know that, as we said, Damaris is going to be in Clyde's. Alicia, you can't say yet, but yay, Alicia. What are some other future projects that other folks on this call have? Do you know what you're doing next? Fred, you said that you're continuing your one-man show, and that's
I have
going.
another show I'm doing in another part of the Bay Area in the fall, which I can't announce yet. How it goes.
Yeah, I know. I realize as I'm asking this.
But it's a great script and a great story, and I actually get to sing as spiritual, so that'll be interesting.
Oh, very nice. Yeah, I have to say one of my favorite parts of the show is when Alicia sings to David. I love that moment. And again, don't want to give it away for those of you who haven't seen it yet, but it is an absolutely charming moment in the show. How about you, Ray? Do you have something coming up?
Yeah, 12th night at Spark Theater in Livermore in the summer.
Cool.
Yeah, playing Toby Belch, Sir Toby Belch, and Antonio, and a soldier.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
And how about you, Kinan? What's your next project?
Well, as I mentioned, I'm a continuing lecturer at UC Santa Cruz, so
Yeah,
I
yes.
am directing a faculty-led production of a play called Somewhere, a primer for the end of days by Marisela Treviño Horta, which many of your patrons will be familiar with the work from The River Bride, which was done, I believe, last year.
Yes.
So that's what's immediately coming up next. After that, I'm co-directing a show for El Teatro Campesino in the late summer. This will be a co-direction with my father, Luis Valdez. It's his last play, Adios Mama Carlota, which had its premiere in San Jose, was supposed to come to San Juan Bautista in 2020. Of course, the pandemic hit. And so it's taken us 4 years to get that show. So those are the next 2 things coming down the pipeline.
Wonderful. Now you know where to see these fabulous actors, except for the ones that are surprise shows that we cannot announce yet. Anyone else have any questions for our artists? That's okay. Well, then I'll just close out with my favorite question that Alicia's heard before, because I always ask this. Your dream role or your dream show that you haven't done yet. I love asking this because it just kind of reveals something, sometimes surprising things about our artists. And I'm going first to you, Kinan, because I know what your dream show is to direct, and you got to tell everyone because it's awesome.
Okay, so this came up in another conversation. I said my dream
I
show
know what it is. I know what it is.
Attend the
I
tale
think
of
we had-
Sweeney Todd.
Yeah, we did. We had this discussion over the weekend. That's right.
His
Yeah,
skin
I
was
remember
pale
this.
as I was on. Yes. So I love that musical, and I grew up doing a lot of shows with music, not always musicals, but yeah, I have a macabre sense of humor as well, so and a darkness, and I appreciate that production. So yeah, we've had that conversation with some.
Yeah, and I would see that show. Yeah.
If I could sing it, I would act in it, but I can't sing. I don't have those kind of types.
You can too sing.
In the shower.
Ah, well, the theater must be
Nightly
the shower
performances,
because you
daily
can sing.
performances.
Anybody else want to share a favorite dream role or show that you haven't done yet, but you'd love to do?
Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf?
Yeah, good one.
That's a huge show. That's a huge show. And Kristen Brownstone came to see the show. I think it was Saturday night, and she did that at Los Altos stage years ago. And I remember that was a bucket list for me, and oh, so many years ago. And when she and I met after the show, and I said, "Oh my God, I wanted to do that, but now after seeing you, I don't think I can. I can't even come close.
She's wonderful.
I can't even come close to that." But it's still, you know, for the sake of the question, I'll say that's the bucket list.
Nice, nice. Anybody else? Dream role or show you'd like to share?
Well, for me, it's Sweeney Todd also, although I've been in a small part in it, but I too would love to direct Sweeney Todd.
Ah,
Or,
cool.
I mean, it's my favorite musical, so.
Let's duke it out with our.
Yeah.
You could co-direct.
Okay.
I'll be Pirelli in your production.
Well, I would like to play the judge, but yeah, it's a great show.
Yeah,
Amazing.
absolutely.
I would love. Oh, sorry.
No, no, go ahead.
I would love to get into a production of Spring Awakening. I'm very quickly aging out. Call me. Anybody out there?
And if you've heard Alicia's voice, you know they can sing anything.
The phone book. Yes, you can.
Mm-hmm.
What she doesn't have in sports, she makes up for in singing.
There you go.
There you go.
I would also chime in with Virginia Woolf, because I've auditioned for it 2 times in my life. And I've never been cast in it, so if somebody wants to do it, let me know.
Do that.
How did you not know?
And
Martha
anything,
George right here.
and anything and everything by August Wilson. I would love to play Becker in Jitney. I'd love to play Troy in Fences. Yeah, so.
Great choices.
You don't want to do Sheely again?
Who brought that up? Thanks, Kelly. I love Sheely, but you know what I mean.
I guess I'm the only one who hasn't said anything. Yeah. Let's say Hamilton. Just kidding. I don't want to be in that show. Played out.
You would no. You would rock Jefferson.
Yeah, I've auditioned for that show too many times.
All right, fair enough.
Let this set out. Probably the show that I have in my head that I want to write. That's what I'm gonna say.
Nice.
I want to do that show. I want to finish writing a play and I want to perform in it.
And David is also a rapper and a film and TV actor. So you're going to be seeing that mug all over the place if you haven't already. Nice. I was fortunate enough to get to see this show twice, preview night and opening night. And it's so cool to see a show evolve, especially during opening weekend. So it's great to have you all here. Sorry we didn't have Caitlin, but she's with us in spirit. And I have to say one little thing about Caitlin that I love is not only is she just so great as Barbara Flowers. I love all the little places that she comes in, like she's the waitress and she's this, she's sitting there talking to Fred and like bringing him his drink and stuff. And it's like, there's Caitlin over there. There's Caitlin over there. Like, you keep your actors pretty busy, don't you, Kinan?
I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
Yeah. The game I play is when she comes out and I just kind of make up drinks every night.
And that's right. And Alicia's also saying kudos to Olivia Millette, our assistant stage manager, who is also kind of doubles as the makeup artist for Barbara Flowers, is kind of sprucing her up before she goes on. And who else am I missing? Gloria. Yes, Gloria Stanley. Yep. With the quick changes and the wardrobe management, just it takes a whole team to put this together, doesn't it? Yep. Cheers for everyone. Last chance. Anybody else have anything to say? Any questions? Anyone want to take us out?
Questions.
We run through April 21st. If you haven't seen it, see it. If you've already seen it, see it again. And then see Clyde's, and then Rocky Horror. We got the rest of your season planned out for you.